74 degrees and sunny here on a beautiful afternoon for baseball in Annapolis as we welcome you out to Game 2 of the Patriot League Championship Series between Army and Navy.
Starting on the mound for the Black Knights today is the #1 pitcher, Tyler Giovinco. The pitching staff really analyzed all situations, and it made the most sense to start him in Game 2, and a large part of that was to keep him in routine. Army plays a lot of Saturday day games. Baseball players, they like their routines. While he's very strong in the mental game, this was a big factor, and he will be able to battle. He has 4 nice pitches and able to mix it up. He had a win in the championship tournament versus Navy last year, looking to get it done again today.
Thanks, Morgan. Ben Gordon-Goldstein here up in the booth. Morgan Uber on the sidelines as we get set for Game 2 of the championship series between Army and Navy. As Morgan mentioned, that's Giovinco there on the mound throwing his warm-up pitches before the top of the first inning. Let's get you the starting lineup for Navy that he'll be going up against here this afternoon. Leading off will be the left fielder, Evan Lowry. Shortstop, Michael Kuritz, bats second. Hitting third will be the second baseman, Zach Biggers. Zach Stevens in the cleanup spot playing first base. Christian Hodge catches and bats fifth. Hitting sixth will be Liam Lowry, the right fielder. Jacob Williamson, third baseman, hits seventh. Batting eighth will be the designated hitter, Christian Policelli, and batting ninth will be the center fielder, Joe Samorian. Again, that starting lineup goes up against Giovinco, who got a win last week against Holy Cross there in the semifinals, and now makes a start for the second consecutive year here in Annapolis in the championship series. As Evan Lowry digs in, Giovinco's first pitch is a called strike, and we are underway here at 2:04 Eastern in Annapolis. Glad to have you with us here for Game 2 of the championship series. Army leads 1-0 as Lowry fouls that pitch off, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Army a 6-2 winner yesterday, able to hand Noah Song his first loss of the 2019 season. As the pitch is a chopper over to the right side of the infield. The first baseman McKenna will flip to the pitcher Giovinco covering the bag, where they're able to get Lowry, and that is the first out here in the top of the first inning. Set up the defense here for Army. In the outfield, Andre Walden's in left, Jacob Hurtaby's in center, and Drake Titus is the right fielder. The infield, Anthony Jaquin, the star of yesterday's game. He knocked in 5 of the 6 runs and scored another one, is over at third. Josh White plays short. Tim Simos is the second baseman. John McKenna at first, and Blake Ledoux does the catch. It is that one, a diving stop by White. He spins, throws to first, and he got him. What a play there by White at shortstop. A little sliding stop going up the middle, and Kuritz runs well, but still able to get him over at first. And Giovinco has a couple of quick outs here in the top of the first inning. Should take another look at that one. White just gets him by a step over at first base, and White, in his first action of the tournament, didn't play at all last week against Holy Cross, didn't play in Game 1, and his last action was on May the 8th against Villanova, and makes a tremendous play there for the second out here in the first inning, as Zach Biggers will stand in. Took a first pitch strike and now fouls that one off, and quickly Biggers is behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. The junior Biggers comes into this game batting .297 on the year. No home runs, 41 runs batted in. 0-2 is again rolled foul, and it remains 0-2 here to Biggers. So the 6-2 win for Army yesterday. Trying to make it back-to-back Patriot League titles, get themselves back to the tournament as they clinched here last year in Annapolis as well. It's the pitch upstairs, and it's 1-2, and trying to become the first repeat winners in the Patriot League since they did it in 2012 and 2013. It's the 1-2 pitch, reaches out and hits that on a hop to first. McKenna fumbles it a couple of times, but will flip to Giovinco covering the bag, and they do get the final out here in the first inning. So good start for the senior Giovinco, a 1-2-3 top of the first inning.
Welcome back into Max Bishop Stadium. You're watching Army versus Navy on the Patriot League Network. Starting on the mound for the Mids today is Jared Leins. The unique thing about this pitching staff for Navy is they have 10 freshmen and sophomores on their staff. And with Noah Song really being the ace and leader of the pitching staff, he's gravitated towards Leins. He sees things in him that are unique. He'll really be the next guy up for Navy, so he's being groomed to really be Navy's #1 pitcher, looking to get it done today.
Thanks, Morgan. As Leins throwing his warm-up pitches, coming off a tremendous outing last week against Lafayette in the Patriot League semis. It was the game that Navy won the 10-2 game, but in 12 innings, scoring 8 runs in the top of the 12th of that game. But forgotten was that Leins went 7 2/3 in that game and allowed just 1 run on 2 hits while striking out 9, and had actually thrown 7 shutout innings to begin the game, but gave up his lone run in the 8th, and Lafayette would tie it in the 9th before Navy would win it in 12 innings. So he finishes throwing his warm-up pitches, and quickly get you the lineup that he'll be going up against for Army as Jacob Hurtubise will stand in to lead things off. Tim Simos moves up to the #2 spot in the lineup today. Anthony Jaquin is the third baseman, batting third. Andre Walden, cleanup hitter, left field, bats fourth. John McKenna hits fifth. Jeremiah Adams bats sixth. And then rounding out the lineup, Ledoux, White, and Titus there in the 7, 8, 9 spots that you see on your screen. As Leins ready to go, first pitch of the ball game is chopped foul by Hurtubise, or first pitch for Leins rather in the game is chopped foul, and the count is 0-1. So the on-base machine, Jacob Hurtubise, leading things off. He's on base a couple more times yesterday. Now 35 consecutive games that he has reached base safely, and that one a diving stop by Williamson, playing in on the grass at third. Wasn't hit all that hard, but had to react quickly, and Hurtubise is retired to start off the bottom of the first inning, and there's one away for Tim Simos. So a rare time that Hurtubise is kept off base here over really the last month and a half for any squad. And Tim Simos stand in, 2 for 3 yesterday, so he jumps up to the #2 spot in the lineup here against Leins. And the pitch is a called strike, and the count is 0-1. So Leins on the mound, coming off 7 2/3 innings last week against Lafayette, and trying to keep Navy's season alive. The pitch down low, and it's evened up at 1-1 after yesterday. Army, really it was the first 2 innings against Noah Song, scored 5 runs off of the senior, and now the 1-1 pitch is a called strike, and it's 1-2. Army team that also handed Song a loss last year in the Patriot League Tournament Finals. The 1-2 pitch fouled it off, and it remains 1-2. Song last year in the 2018 Patriot League Tournament Finals, 7 innings, 4 runs, and a loss to Army. And now this year he gets the loss in Game 1 as well. So Navy trying to avoid being swept by Army in back-to-back years in the finals as a check swing hit foul and out of play, and it remains ball and 2 strikes. Here to Simos, who's hitting .274 on the year. He's got a home run and 16 runs batted in. Leins will ask his catcher Hodge to run back through the signs, and now the pitch, big breaking ball that misses for a ball. And it goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes as Jaquin waits on deck. 5 RBIs yesterday for Jaquin, all coming in those first 2 innings against Song. Pitch here off the end of the bat, rolled to the right side. First baseman Stevens will flip the lines. And Simos is retired, 2 up and 2 down, and set up the defense here for Navy. In the outfield, you have Joe Samorian in center field, and he's flanked on either side by the Lowry brothers. Evan Lowry's in the left, and Liam Lowry is the right fielder. Infield, Jacob Williamson continues to really play strong defensive third baseman. Already saw him make a diving stop in this game. Koritz is the shortstop, Biggers at second, Stevens at first, and Hodge catches that pitch from Leins behind the plate, and the count is 1-0 to Jaquin. So Jaquin now hitting .333 on the season, 6 home runs, 66 runs batted in, and a called strike to him, and the count's evened up at a ball and a strike. He's knocked in a run in 5 straight games, 12 RBIs total during that stretch. And now another strike to him, and it's 1-2. First team All-Patriot League for the second consecutive season. Just a sophomore from Livingston, New Jersey, and now the pitch is hit foul, and it remains 1-2. Left-handed batter, Jaquin. Leins trying to work through a scoreless first, and the pitch up high to him, and it's evened up at 2-2. Jaquin, only 2 players in this Army team that's now played in all 57 games. The other, their leadoff hitter, Hurnabees. Leins out of the wind, and now his 2-2 delivery is hitting the air out towards left field. Lowry coming on, he slides and makes the catch. And Leins equals the 1-2-3 inning of Giovinco. Both pitchers 1-2-3 in the first. We'll head to the second. Go to the second inning. No score here between Army and Navy. Ben Gordon-Goldstein back with you. Morgan Uber on the sidelines here this afternoon for Game 2 of the Patriot League Championship Series. Army a 6-2 winner yesterday, so they are a win away from getting back to the NCAA tournament for the second consecutive season, as the freshman Zach Stevens will lead things off here in the top of the second inning. Game's in Annapolis, but Navy is the designated road team here for Game 2. And if they're able to force a Game 3, they'll be back as the home team tomorrow afternoon. So the 1-0 delivery to Stevens, swing and a miss, and it's evened up at 1-1. It's Giovinco, the senior, on the mound here for Army. Deals a pitch a little low, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Last week, 7 innings, 1 run on 8 hits. He struck out 7 and walked 2. 105 pitches in that game against Holy Cross. That one and ball grounded right back through the middle for a base hit, and Stevens has the first hit of this game, a leadoff single in the second inning.
Now batting number 33, Christian Hodge.
Ben, Zach Stevens had made a big adjustment in his swing middle of the year. He came in with an uphill swing, but with the work he put in, Coach Kostakopoulos said that he's really just been the strongest freshman and was able to make those adjustments easily, and here he goes to lead us off for the second.
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, Stevens, a tremendous senior season as a freshman. Batted .322 this year, 5 home runs, 28 runs batted in, and so as a freshman season, one of really 3 freshmen that has contributed quite a bit here for Navy. Samorian and Policelli at the bottom of the lineup as well, so strong freshman class here for Navy. And Hodge standing in here, count 1 ball and 1 strike. At the top of the second inning, Giovinco, the left-hander, having to work out of the stretch for the first time in this game against the Patriot League Player of the Year, Christian Hodge. The pitch, swing and a miss, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Hodge, .296 batting average, but 12 home runs and 52 runs batted in, and certainly much warmer weather here in Annapolis than last week for the Patriot League Tournament semifinals. The pitch, tried to check, he did hold up on a ball low, and it's evened up at 2-2. So last week had cold conditions, kind of rainy weather. It was misting for a lot of Game 2 against Lafayette here in Annapolis, and the wind was blowing in here. You'd imagine the ball will carry quite a bit more, and it is blowing out towards left. Now the pitch is skied way up in the air, foul. And it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Hodge. Hodge, who went 1 for 7 last week against Lafayette. Now the 2-2 runner going. It's lined out towards right. That's going to drop in there for a base hit. Stevens is going to continue on to third. The throw, pretty good one from Titus, but Stevens gets in there with a slide, and it's back-to-back hits for Navy to start things in the top of the second inning. And they have runners at the corners with nobody out, and Liam Lowry will come to the plate.
Now batting number 21, Liam Lowry.
Stevens running there on the pitch. Thought he'd easily get to third, but Titus showing off the arm there in right field. And so Navy's got a chance to strike first here in the second inning. Liam Lowry, who swung it better than anybody on Navy last week against Lafayette, will get a chance for knocking the first run of this game for Navy. Did knock in a run yesterday on a sac fly. Fouls that one back, and it's 0-1. Lowry last week against Lafayette went 6 for 9 in the 2 games. Had 3 runs batted in. 0 for 3 day yesterday, but the sac fly. Now bats with runners at the corners. Pitch is a liner back through the middle for a base hit. Scoring from third is Stevens, and Lowry gets himself another RBI. He's now got 5 in the tourney, and Navy leads it 1-0 here in the top of the second. So 3 straight hits for Navy to begin things here. In the second inning, Navy has already eclipsed their total hits from all of yesterday's game 1. They had just 2 hits total yesterday. And now have 3 here in the second, showing bunt here, and it's laid down foul. Third base line. So Williamson is behind in the count, 0-1. Williamson, .219 hitter, 5 home runs and 24 runs batted in, but it's been defensively that he has really shined here for Navy. Had the game-saving diving play in Game 2 against Lafayette last week in the bottom of the 11th inning. Then Navy went on to score 12 in the top of the 12th, or 8 in the top of the 12th. As that ball bunted and the third baseman Jaquin fell down fielding it, and everybody's going to be safe. And that's now 4 hits in a row for Navy. As you see it again there, Jaquin just slips there going after it. And everybody is aboard. It will go as a bunt single for Williamson. Hodge over to third, Lowry to second. And Navy has the bases loaded with nobody out here in the top of the second. An early mound visit here for Army as the entire infield is going to come in. Have a chat here with Giovinco. And let's send it over to Morgan, who's down on the sidelines with a little bit more.
Well, Ben, one of the things that Coach Costacopoulos said after yesterday was they had a lot of opportunities with the bases loaded early, the first and third innings. Army was throwing a majority of fastballs, and he said we needed to get shorter to the ball and play the opposite gap more, and that's exactly what they've done today. They've been able to capitalize in a big situation early in the game, and this dugout is very fueled right now.
Thanks, Morgan. Yeah, Navy had bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning yesterday and scored only 1 run. And then in that third inning that you mentioned as well, bases loaded, nobody out, and also scored 1 run. So trying to capitalize here, get a few extra runs for an offense that struggled yesterday. And bases loaded here in the first pitch. Policelli takes it for a ball. Rather takes it for a strike, and the count's 0-1. Policelli in the lineup today, didn't play yesterday, the freshman DH, and he's also Navy's backup catcher. And he's jammed there and fouls it off, and now it's 0-2. 301 hitter, 3 home runs, and 18 runs batted in. Army will play back up the middle for the double play, in at the corners. And now the 0-2 pitch is hit foul, right side and out of play, and it remains 0-2. So Hodge over at third, Lowry at second, and Williamson at first. Already a run across here for Navy. And the Liam Lowry RBI single. Navy with an opportunity. They break it open early on in this one. 0-2 pitch is high, and it's 1-2. Stevens has already scored here in the inning as Giovinco laboring through this top of the second. Here's his 1-2 pitch. Inside, gets away. Coming home is Hodge. Catcher still can't find the ball. Now Lowry's going to try to score from second. He will, and it's a 2-run wild pitch, and Navy leads it 3-0. See that often. Ledoux just couldn't find the ball there. And we'll take another look here, and I think they're going to argue that it hit him. And the 4 umpires are going to get together as well. So it did kind of carom a little weird near the back foot of Policelli on that play. If it hit him, it'll be just 1 run and bases still loaded. And they are going to say that it hit him there after the umpires huddled up. So it's a hit by pitch. It will not go as a wild pitch. It'll just be Hodge scoring. Lowry over to third, Williamson to second, Policelli to first. So just 1 run scores, but the bases are still loaded here with nobody out. As Paul Kostakopoulos, a quick chat here with Richard Katz, who's behind the plate and seems satisfied with the explanation. But either way, 5 in a row have reached here for Navy to begin things, and already 27 pitches for Giovinco. And here's Joe Samorian, the 9-hole batter. So 5 straight have reached here to begin things in the second. Still nobody out, and the pitch up high, and the count is 1-0. Samorian, 301 hitter, a home run, 12 runs batted in. 0 for 3 in game 1 with a walk. And now the pitch to him is a strike, and it's evened up at 1-1. One of those 3 freshmen in the lineup, so we've seen Stevens start the inning, the freshman, with a single. Policelli get hit by a pitch and pick up an RBI. Now the 1-1 fouled off, and it's 1-2. And now the 3rd freshman in the lineup for Navy, Samorian, is behind in the count here, 1-2. Here's his 1-2 offering. Chopper over to second. Simos to short for 1. Relay to first is in time. And a big double play there for Army. They turn it 4-6-3. On the play, Lowry does score, but potentially could help limit any more damage here in the second inning. So 3-0 Navy. Williamson also over to third on the play. But the first 2 outs here of the second inning. And it's a 3-0 game as Navy now has 2 outs and a runner over at third. And Evan Lowry at the top of the lineup will stand in and look at a first pitch ball. And it counts 1-0. Lowry 0 for 1. He grounded out to first to begin the game. There's now the 7th batter to come to the plate here in the inning. He hits that one in the air out towards left. Walden started in, now retreats on it, and he's there to make the catch. And the side is retired. But Navy puts up 3 runs here in the second inning. They score the 3 runs on 4 hits, and they leave 1 runner on base. Go to the bottom half of the second inning, 3-0. Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you. Morgan Uber on the sidelines here this afternoon. Jared Leins finishing throwing his warm-up pitches here in Annapolis between Army and Navy as he pitched a 1-2-3, bottom half of the first inning. And now here in the bottom of the second, we'll deal with the middle third of the Army lineup. Andre Walden, John McKenna, Jeremiah Adams due up here for the Black Knights, who lead this series 1-0. But Navy The early 3-0 lead here in the bottom half of the second inning, trying to force that decisive Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. It would again be a 2 o'clock start. And a first pitch. It's called a strike there to Walden, and the count is 0-1. Walden 1 for 3 yesterday, scored a couple of runs. It's on base 3 times, shows bunt, and pulls back, and it's evened up at 1-1. Also drew a walk and was hit by a pitch for a JUCO transfer that hit .286 this season, 5 home runs, 40 runs batted in. And again shows bunt and hits it foul. And it's 1-2. And it's got good speed. Ended up second in the Patriot League in stolen bases. He stole quite a few down the stretch. Stole 9 bases in his last 10 games entering this series. Now here's the 1-2 offering to him. It's fouled off right side. And it remains a ball and 2 strikes. Leins was able to work that pretty quick 1-2-3. Bottom half of the first inning, only needed 15 pitches. And on the other side for Giovinco, actually didn't end up throwing a ton of pitches in the second inning. He's at 33 pitches through 2 innings. So it all happened pretty quickly. As a swing and a miss there. First strikeout of the ball game for Leins, and he's retired the first 4 batters of this game. And John McKenna will come to the plate. Leins last week, the career high 9 strikeouts against Lafayette over 7 2/3 innings of work. Also a career high in innings pitched for him. As the first pitch misses just inside for a ball, and the count's 1-0. Again, really cruised through the first 7 innings, 7 shutout innings to begin the game, then gave up his lone run in the 8th last week before being pulled, and he hits McKenna with a pitch there, and that's the first base runner of the game for Army. McKenna will take first. Another look on it, just had an off-speed pitch. They got away from him and hits him on that front bicep. So Jeremiah Adams will come to the plate. Adams, another JUCO transfer on this Army team. Got a couple of them. It's Walden, who already struck out in this inning. Adams, transfer from Broward College after he played his freshman year at Oklahoma. The first pitch to him is a strike. It counts 0-1. 0 for 4 day for Adams yesterday, but did have the only non-Jaquin RBI of the game for Army. Jaquin knocked in the first 5 runs, and then Adams had an RBI later on for their 6th run. It's the 0-1, the strike. Fastball there, and it's 0-2 here to Adams. 250 hitter. 3 home runs, 32 runs batted in. Faces Leins, working out of the stretch for the first time in this game with that runner over at first. Now the pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Leins, pair of strikeouts here in the second around the hit by pitch, and now Blake Ledoux.
Now batting number 7, Blake Ledoux
will come to the plate. Do the 3rd of the JUCO transfers in the lineup. A sophomore, came from Alvin Community College there in the Houston area in Texas. The pitch is down low, and the count is 1-0. We'll do a 250 hitter, no home runs, 12 runs batted in. It's his 31st start of the season. 1-0 pitch. There's a ball, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. So Navy scoring the 3 runs in the top half of this inning. RBI single by Liam Lowry. Policelli picks up an RBI and a hit by pitch, and then they scored the 3rd run on a double play that Samorian hit into. So 3 runs in the top half of this inning. And now the pitch, the grounder left side, Williamson ranging over, he's there, slings it across, and Ledoux is retired, and Leins has 2 scoreless innings to begin things here for Navy. No runs in the inning on no hits. There was 1 runner left on. Go to the third, it's 3-0, Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you. Morgan Uber on the sidelines here this afternoon. Game 2 of the Patriot League Championship Series. Army a 6-2 winner yesterday, so Navy trying to stay alive, keep their season alive here against Army, and off to the good start, scoring 3 runs in the top of the 2nd inning, and a good sign for Navy. Army just 9-15 this year when opponents score first. And so Navy did strike first in that 2nd. Now Michael Kuritz will lead things off here in the 3rd. And the first pitch is a called strike, and the count is 0-1. So the senior Giovinco trying to bounce back from that 2nd inning. First 5 batters of the inning all reached here. A backhand play by White. Long throw across, and he got him. And that's twice. Actually pulled him off the bag there on the throw. Looked like the throw was going to beat him there, but must have pulled McKenna off the bag. Take another look at it here. As White on the backhand there, the throw across, and
now batting number 2, Zach Biggers.
First base umpire is going to say he was off the bag there. You can see on the replay it was pretty close. We take one more look at it here. It looked like the toe is still on the bag there, but Kuritz gets a break. It was will go as an E6 there, and unfortunate for White because that was the 2nd time he had made a really nice play on Kuritz, and it did look like McKenna held the bag, but he is called safe. Now a pop-up here in foul territory, right side. It's the first baseman McKenna who will put that one away, and Biggers is retired for the first out here in the 3rd. Kuritz will stay put, and Zach Stevens will come to the plate. So Stevens is the one that started the rally in the 2nd inning, led off the inning with a single, the first of 5 straight batters that reach base, first of 4 straight hits for Navy. So his 2nd look at Giovinco, Kuritz at first. This one a chopper over to 3rd. They're going to go to 2nd for 1. The turn here, and they do turn the around the horn 5-4-3 double play. And so the leadoff error doesn't end up mattering. Giovinco faces the minimum here in the 3rd inning. Go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning, 3-0, Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you. Morgan Uber on the sidelines. Jared Leins is back out for his 3rd inning of work. 2 scoreless so far. Hasn't allowed a hit. The lone base runner against him. He hit McKenna with a pitch in the 2nd. And so Josh White will lead things off here for Army. White and Titus out of the 8-9 spots in the back of the top of the lineup with Hurtubise here in the 3rd, as White gets his first at bat of the Patriot League tournament and looks at a first pitch strike, and the count is 0-1. So White, unfortunately for him, gets tagged with the error there in the top half of this inning. As the pitch is popped up on the infield right side. Stevens and Biggers are there. They look at each other, and the ball bounces between them. And it'll be a base hit for White. And the leadoff batter is aboard, so that's how Army gets their first hit of this game. You can see Stevens and Biggers kind of talking to each other as the ball was up in the air, but apparently either nobody saw it or nobody took control of the situation. Normally it's Biggers in those situations who goes after every pop-up. 2018 Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, and even going out, he normally calls the outfielders off a pop-up in shallow right field. As first pitch is down in the called for a strike. And it's 0-1, so it was dropped there by the catcher, Hodge. But normally it's Biggers in those situations that takes control, but wasn't able to do so. So White is aboard with Titus at the plate. And a toss over to first. Another toss over. Titus had a hit yesterday. The pitch is inside for a ball, and it's evened up at a ball and a strike. So a 8-game hitting streak now for Titus. Nice way to finish off his junior season. Really been struggling right around the 200 batting average at the start of this hitting streak, but has it up to 243 now. So he fouls that one off, and that's a ball and 2 strikes. Here to Titus. Leins working with the runner over at first base and nobody out here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning after the pop-up dropped in between Stevens and Biggers there on the right side of the infield. White taking his lead off of first. Another toss over there. Getting dives back in safely. White 6 stolen bases on the season. Army team that led by Hurtubise. He runs more than them. 117 stolen bases in 146 attempts. So the pitch here is hitting the air out towards center field. Samorian over, and he's there to make the catch. So Titus is retired. White stays put at first, and here is Hurtubise, who gets on base more than anybody in the conference. And Hurtubise, who gets on base just as well as anybody in the country, and Morgan on the sidelines has a little more on Hurtubise.
Yeah, Ben, Coach Foster told me that he's as tough as it gets. He's just as good with 2 strikes as he is 2-0. He puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
And you can see his base running there, able to keep him out of the double play. Looked like a tailor-made double play ball as Hurtubise extremely quick, able to bust it up the line and maybe not able to turn 2 on that grounder. As it goes 4-6 on the fielder's choice. Hurtubise is now aboard with 2 outs here in the 3rd, and Tim Simos will come to the plate and certainly keep an eye on if Hurtubise is going to run more here in the 3rd. Again, 41 stolen bases on the season in 47 attempts. It's already the Patriot League all-time leader in stolen bases. It's also 3rd in the nation in steals this season with the 41 stolen bases. Toss to first. Does not have a particularly large lead right now. With Simos at the plate. Wouldn't be surprised to see him take off though. His front foot right on the edge of that dirt cutout over at first base, and now a half a foot in front, and he does have to dive back this time. So Leins has checked on him a couple of times over there at first base, and Hurtubise runs so much because he is on base so much. On base percentage up over 500, 533 coming into this game. Pitch called a strike, and it's 0-2. And been on base in just about every game this year. 35 consecutive games he's reached base. Now make it 36 with this one. Well, actually, does not count as reaching base with the fielder's choice, but still threatening. So still at 35 games is a pitch out. 12-game hitting streak on the line for him as well, but Hurtubise has reached base in all but 4 games this season. So he has had many opportunities to swipe bags as well. Long hold and another toss over there. And just put so much pressure on the pitchers. Focus has to be split between first and the batter. Now he does go, and the pitch is grounded over to short. Kuritz is going to have to make the toss across with the runner going, and he does to get the final out here in the third inning. 3-0, Navy leading Army here in the Patriot League Championship Series as we go to the top of the fourth inning. Game 2, Army with the 1-0 lead, and after Army won yesterday 6-2, but Navy scoring 3 runs in the top of the second inning to take the early lead, and Tyler Giovinco just finishing throwing his warm-up pitches here before the fourth, so he'll go back to work. Face the minimum there in the third after giving up the 3 runs in the second inning, and now Christian Hodge will lead things off against Giovinco. First pitch is a little low, and the count is 1-0. Giovinco certainly now used to pitching in these big games for Army. Beat Navy last year in Game 1 of the Patriot League Finals. This pitch is a strike. 7 innings, 2 runs in that game. He also got a win in the NCAA tournament a season ago against NC State. 1 run in 6 1/3 innings in that game. So it's hitting the air off the end of the bat out towards center. Hurtubise, 2019 Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, and he makes the catch there, and Hodge is retired. Easy play for Hurtubise, 1 away, and Liam Lowry will come to the plate. So Giovinco, who is in the starting rotation, at least the weekend starting rotation since his sophomore year. He did start 6 games as a freshman, but mostly midweek games for him. Last 3 years, though, as that one hits off Giovinco, caroms towards first. Lowry racing over there, and then they tried to roll it over, and it gets away from everybody, and Lowry's going to end up at second. So it'll be a base hit there for Lowry, and then the error by the pitcher Giovinco puts him over to second base. And Liam Lowry has himself another multi-hit game here. Just take another look at it. Ball just kicks off of Giovinco, rolls over towards first, and actually if Giovinco had gotten to that ball cleanly and been able to flip it up to McKenna, might have had a chance at Lowry, but would have been extremely difficult to do so. Probably would have been better served just to eat it there. But instead, Lowry ends up at second, and Navy has themselves another runner in scoring position on the second error of the game by Army. So we'll see if Giovinco can work another error, this time by himself here in the fourth, as Williamson looks at a first pitch ball, and the count's 1-0. Williamson trying to lay down the sac bunt in the second, ended up with the bunt single that loaded up the bases. Now the 1-0 is a liner off the glove of the third baseman Jaquin. It'll end up in left field. Here comes Lowry around third. The throw home, and they have it nailed at the plate. What a throw by Walden. Lowry out at the plate, and it remains a 3-0 game. Another look at it there, and he was beat by a good couple of feet there. Perfect throw from Walden there out in left field. The JUCO transfer cuts down Lowry and keeps it a 3-0 game. Does go as a base hit for Williamson, so he's got his second hit of the game, that time off the glove of Jaquin. So they'll toss over and check on him at first base. But keeps it a 3-0 game here in the top of the fourth. It's the second out of the inning. And that pitch is up high, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Policelli at the plate, hit by a pitch his first time up, picked up an RBI on that play. scored Hodge. Now the pitch called a strike catches the inside corner. It's evened up at 1-1. So we've seen some sloppy plays by both sides, but also some good defense on both sides. Great throw there by Walden. Some double plays turned in this game as well. So it's been a mixed bag defensively over the first 3.5 innings. And Giovinco looking for his second straight scoreless inning after giving up the 3 runs in the second. Pitch popped him up on the infield left side. Jaquin is calling for it right by the bag, and he will put it away. And the side is retired. So Giovinco, a couple of hits and an error, but no damage done here in the 4th because of the great defense by Andre Walden. Go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. It's 3-0. Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein, Morgan Uber back with you. Army, good play at the plate. Nice throw by Walden to keep it a 3-0 game in the top of the 4th inning. So Jared Leins goes back to work, still with that 3-run cushion. It'll be Jaquin, Walden, and McKenna. 2 up here for Army in the 4th as Jaquin will lead things off. And the first pitch jammed him, rolls it right to short. Kuritz is there, throws it across. And it's in time, and Jaquin is retired for the first out here in the 4th inning. And situation that Navy's got to like over Jaquin's first 2 at-bats. Well, he's 0 for 2, and both times he's come to the plate, nobody's been on base, as Jaquin has been an RBI machine here over the last 5 games, really all season. Led the Patriot League in runs batted in, 66 of them on the season. So they have done a nice job of not giving him opportunities over his first 2 at-bats of this game. Here's Walden, who made the great play there in the top half of this inning. Now will bat for the 2nd time against Leins. Pitch, swinging a foul ball back. And it's evened up at 1-1. Walden, one of 2 strikeouts for Leins in the 2nd inning. Only 2 strikeouts that Leins has so far in this game. So the sophomore gets his 2nd look here, and that one bounces up there, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. From Hillsborough Community College, just outside of Tampa. Pitch here, hitting the air out towards right center field. Orion will shade his eyes from the sun and make the catch. 2 up and 2 down for Leins, who has been pretty good so far in this game. Really hit he is allowed. Should have been a pop out in the infield, and then the only other base runner was when he hit McKenna with a pitch in the 2nd. But aside from that, for Leins, for the 2nd straight week, it's been pretty smooth for the sophomore, coming off 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball last week against Lafayette. And a first pitch strike here to McKenna. That counts 0-1. So the sophomore back-to-back outings for Navy. Pitch, swing and a miss. Had him chasing one down and away. And the count is 0-2. McKenna is a big strikeout guy. He struck out 18 times in his last 15 games. Was the Patriot League leader in strikeouts last year, and swings and misses at that one. And Leins has his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. He's got his 2nd 1-2-3 inning of this game. Go to the 5th. It's a 3-0 Navy lead over Army here in Game 2 of the Patriot League Championship Series. Navy needing to win to keep their season alive here after Army won 6-2 yesterday in Game 1. And so far, the sophomore Jared Leins has been tremendous here for head coach Paul Kostakopoulos' squad. Just 47 pitches through the first 4 innings of this game. And Tyler Giovinco, aside from that 2nd inning, it's been pretty good as well. He's worked back-to-back scoreless innings since giving up 3 runs in the second, so he'll go back to work here in the 5th. 9-hole batter Joe Samorian will stand in to lead things off as Giovinco adjusting the dirt around the mound. Now ready to work, and the pitch outside, and the count's 1-0. So Samorian, then top of the lineup, Evan Lowry and Michael Koritz here for Navy in the top half of the 5th inning. Strike called there. It's evened up at 1-1. Samorian hit into a double play in the second. It did result in a run, but no RBI for Samorian. Then helped Giovinco limit the damage to just the 3 runs as he was batting with already 2 runs in and the bases loaded, nobody out. It's at a liner out to right, and it'll drop in front of Titus. And Samorian has another base hit for Navy. They've got 7 now so far in the game. And the leadoff batter is on for the 3rd time this game.
Evan Lowry.
So here's Evan Lowry. See if he's up there trying to bunt the runner over and a toss to first. Samorian will dive back in safely. Lowry 0 for 2 so far in this game. And he is bunting, and it's a good one down the 3rd baseline. Jaquin will pick it up, throw over, and it's in time. Seen Jaquin have a little trouble defensively over at 3rd so far in this game, but no trouble there. Makes the play. Samorian over to 2nd, so another runner in scoring position here for Navy. Saw Jaquin slip on the bunt by Williamson in the 2nd. Allowed everybody to be safe, and then in the 4th inning, had a sharp liner go off his glove. But makes that play. Navy runner in scoring position now with 1 out, and here's Koritz. Pitch is a strike, and the count's 0-1. Koritz reached on that error by White in the 3rd. Some close play over at first base. Umpire said McKenna's foot came off the bag. Pitch here, fouled it off right side and out of play, and quickly it's 0-2 to Koritz. So Koritz is 0 for 2 in the game. Batting average right at 300 now on the season. And now pickoff attempt over at 2nd, very close. As Samorian has to dive back in there. The 2nd baseman, Simos, sneaking in behind him. Another look there. Samorian was caught leaning, but just did get his hand back in ahead of the tag. And now swing and a miss there by Koritz. And he is down on strikes. 2nd out here in the 5th inning. 1st strikeout for Giovinco. And Zach Biggers will come to the plate. Koritz, a guy who does not strike out much. That was just his 17th strikeout of the season. Guy's played just about every game this season, and only 17 strikeouts, but down there swinging. So here's the junior Biggers, first pitch swinging, and he hits that one foul. Counts 0-1. Top of the lineup here has struggled for Navy. Now combined 0 for 7. The sack bunt. Biggers 0 for 2. Ground out and a pop out, both to the first baseman. Comes after an 0 for 2 game 1 for Biggers. Pitch here is hitting the air out towards right center field. Hurtubise was playing him over towards left center, but no trouble for him getting over and making the catch. And despite the leadoff single, Navy scoreless here in the 5th. No runs, a hit, and 1 runner left on base. Halfway home here in Annapolis. Go to the bottom half of the 5th inning, 3-0. Navy leading Army. Jared Leins is back out for his 5th inning of work. He has cruised through the first 4 innings of this game. 4 shutout innings, just 1 hit allowed on a pop-up that dropped in the infield. 3 strikeouts, no walks, and only 47 pitches for Leins. And similar story to last week. Last week against Lafayette, 7 2/3 innings, 1 run, but the first 7 innings of that game last week, he needed only 83 pitches to throw 7 shutout frames, and then did run into a little bit of trouble in the 8th inning, threw 13 pitches in that frame, and gave up his lone run of the game, got a couple outs, and then was out of the game. So he is cruising again, and a first pitch ball to begin things here in the 5th to Jeremiah Adams, who will lead things off for Army. Adams, Ledoux, and White. And the pitch, that's a strike. And it's evened up at 1-1. Adams 0 for 1, one of 3 strikeouts for Leins so far in this game. Pitch is hit in the air out towards right center field. Lowry Samorian in the area, and it's Samorian, the center fielder, who will put it away. And since the leadoff infield single by White on the pop-up that dropped in the infield, Leins has now retired 7 in a row, and Blake Ledoux will come to the plate. First pitch down and away, and the count's 1-0. Ledoux 0 for 1, grounded out to third his first time up in the 2nd inning. Pitch, that's a strike, and it's 1-1. One of 5 ground ball outs that Leins has so far in the game, so he's done a nice job of keeping the ball down. 3 strikeouts as well, and not a whole lot of hard hit balls by Army so far here in game 2. So that one just a tad low, and it's 2-1. Army, the 6-2 winner yesterday. They did the bulk of their damage in the first 2 innings, scoring 2 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second, and Jaquin knocked in all 5 of those runs. 2-run single in the first, and then a bases clearing double for him in the second, and Army had a 5-1 lead after 2 innings yesterday, and it's pretty much all they needed. Is the pitch is taken for a ball, and now it's 3-1. That was off of Noah Song, who had himself such a good season. Now the 3-1, called a strike, and it's full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Song giving up those 5 runs yesterday, and then ended up throwing 7 innings, so he threw 5 scoreless after that, but didn't get enough offense as that one fouled off, and it remains full, 3-2. And a lot of work for Song over the last couple of weeks against Lafayette in the semis, 8 shutout innings, 121 pitches, and then yesterday, 125 pitches in the loss to Army, his first loss of the year. Payoff pitch up and in, ball 4. First walk of the game for Leins. And a good at bat by Ledoux to reach with 1 out here in the 5th. And Josh White will come to the plate. Song came into that game yesterday among the nation's leaders in earned run average, and in fact among starting pitchers. He had the lowest ERA in the country, 103 coming into it. Nation's leader in strikeouts, had 11 more yesterday, so he has had an incredible season, and it'll be interesting to see what the draft brings for him as the pitch is fouled off. The count is 0-1, but certainly for Song, sitting there in the Navy dugout today, hoping that was not his final start for the Mids. And right now, Navy in a good spot to at least force that game 3 tomorrow. White swings at that one and hits in the air out towards the left. It'll have to be played on a hop by Lowry. Stopping at second is Ledoux, and Josh White, who had the first hit of the ball game on a pop-up that dropped in the infield. That time a little bit of a cleaner hit for White, who is getting his first action of the Patriot League tournament. It's now 2 for 2. And Army's got a runner in scoring position for the first time here this afternoon. Drake Titus will come to the plate. So best chance here for Army. First time they've had 2 runners on base in an inning. A walk and then a single here with 1 out. So Ledoux's at second, White's at first. And here's Titus. I'll look back to second. First pitch, that's a strike. Counts 0-1. Both teams have to be quite pleased with the weather here this weekend after what they had to deal with in the semis. Army playing in Worcester, dealing with quite a bit of rain. Their 3rd game of the semis was delayed a number of times on Sunday and didn't end up finishing until right around midnight. Ball in the dirt, runner's going to take off for a third, and Hodge is going to have to eat it as both runners will advance on a wild pitch. Ledoux to third, White to second, and so now Army a base hit away from making this a 1-run game. So it's felt like the entire afternoon that Navy's been in control of this ball game, but all of a sudden here in the bottom half of the 5th inning, Army's got an opportunity to get themselves right back into this game. 2 in scoring position with 1 out. A 1-1 count here. 9-hole batter Titus. Pitch is popped up foul territory, first base side. Stevens will give it a look, and he'll just run out of room. Just beyond the Army dugout on the first base side. And just a couple of feet over the wall over there. So Titus, now a 1-2 count to him. Titus and the dangerous Hurtubise waiting on deck here for Army, but 2 strikes that one. Titus. Leins has 3 strikeouts. Sets, and the pitch is a liner that's played on a hop by Stevens behind the bag at first, and a race to first. He does get the out. It'll score a run though on the play. It'll be an RBI ground out for Drake Titus, but a fine defensive play by Stevens there, preventing 2 runs from scoring, and it's now a 3-1 game with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Now batting number 39, Jacob Hurtubise.
White goes over to third on the play as well. And Army on the scoreboard here in the 5th. The RBI ground out by Titus. And here's Hurtubise with now 2 outs. So looking for that 2-out RBI. The first pitch to him and there for a strike. It counts 0-1. Hurtubise 0 for 2. Lined out to third in the first and then reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. Pitch outside. It's evened up at 1-1. Hurtubise has hit everybody this year, but you look at what he did against Navy in the 5 regular season games. 7 for 13 with 7 walks. So he was on base 14 times in 20 plate appearances. Pitch outside, and it's 2-1, and then went 2 for 5 in game 1 yesterday. Now batting here, ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike, and it's not just against Navy. He walks more than just about anybody in the country. 2nd in the nation in walks with 63 of them coming into this game. This pitch here, liner towards the middle, and that'll be in there for a base hit, and Hurtubise comes through with 2 outs for Army, and it's a 3-2 ball game here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So that'll extend his hitting streak to 13 games. On base streak to 36 games for Hurtubise. And more importantly for Army, the best base runner in the Patriot League now represents the tying run. And Bobby Applegate's going to go out and have a word here with Jared Leins. So Leins, easy first 4 innings, just over 40 pitches to throw 4 shutout innings. But here in the 5th, a walk, a single, wild pitch, and a ground out and a 2-out RBI single have made this a 1-run game. And Hurtubise is going to be a guy they're going to have to keep a close eye on. Would have to imagine Hurtubise is going to try to get himself into scoring position at some point during this Simos at bat. In the 3rd inning when he was at first with 2 outs. So Simos batted in the 3rd inning with Hurtubise at first and 2 outs, and Hurtubise did take off on a pitch that ended up being a ground out to short. So we'll watch him here. Doesn't go on the first pitch, and swinging, pops it up foul territory right side. Stevens will again run out of room. And the count is 0-1. Simos 0 for 2 after a 2-hit game yesterday. He's moved up to the 2-hole. But a couple of ground outs for him in this game. Decent sized lead for Hurtubise off of first, and a check on him there as he dives back in. So once again, a cat and mouse game here between Leins and Hurtubise. Hurtubise 41 stolen bases on the season, and again tosses over there. By far the Patriot League leader. Steals this year. He's the all-time Patriot League leader in steals. That one hit on the ground to short on a hop. Fritz will flip to second, and they get the force out on Hurtubise, and the inning comes to an end. But not before Army gets themselves back into this game here in the 5th. They score 2 runs in the inning on 2 hits, and they leave 1 runner on base. Led to the 6th. Go to the 6th, 3-2. Now a 1-run game after Army scored 2 runs there in the bottom half of the 5th inning, and Tyler Giovinco is back out for his 6th inning of work, and an important shutdown inning now for the Army starter. He's thrown 3 scoreless innings since the 3-run 2nd inning, and now trying to keep it a 1-run game and get those Army bats back to the plate here. He'll face 4, 5, 6. Zach Stevens will lead things off, then Christian Hodge and Liam Lowry is the part of the lineup that's done the bulk of the damage here for Navy in this game. Combined 4 hits between these 3 players so far. Stevens first pitch swinging, and swings and misses, and the count is 0-1 for Giovinco. 5 innings, 3 runs. He has given up 7 hits, but only 55 pitches coming into the inning, and that one hit in the air out towards right. Titus is under it and makes the catch. And Stevens is retired on 2 pitches here in the 6th, and that'll bring Christian Hodge to the plate. Hodge 1 for 2, scored a run in the 2nd. Flied out to center in the 4th. Long staring here from Giovinco now. First pitch is a strike, and it counts 0-1. It was the 2nd inning when Navy had 5 straight batters reach base to begin the inning, but since then, not much against Giovinco. Ball there. Did have a chance in the 4th inning when Walden cut the runner down at the plate. Pitch fouled it back, and it's 1-2.
Ben, one of the things that Army pitching coach Jamie Penzino told me about Giovinco is the strength of his mental game. It's one of his best assets, and we're seeing that here today. 3 runs in the 2nd and error in the 4th inning, and he hasn't been rattled since.
Yeah, Morgan, Giovinco's done a really good job of shutting things down since that 2nd inning, and has 2 strikes here on Hodge. The pitch ripped foul. And it remains 2-2. So the senior in good shape as far as pitches go as well. He's thrown in a number of these big games, especially over the last couple of seasons, with Army winning the Patriot League tournament and Giovinco winning a game in the NCAA tournament last year. So the pitch tried to check, he didn't go, and the count's full, 3-2. So Giovinco's had a lot of opportunities to pitch in these games and has had a ton of success. Now the payoff pitch fouled it off, and so Hodge. Rare deep count here against Giovinco. Even in that second inning, it kind of all happened pretty quickly for Navy with the 4 straight hits and a hit batter. So it didn't throw a ton of pitches. And fouled it back. So Hodge making Giovinco work as Navy holding on to now just a 1-run lead here in the top of the 6th inning. Again, the payoff pitch, that one grounded right back through the middle for a base hit. So the senior Hodge, a nice at bat there against Giovinco. Second hit of the ball game. Maybe he's now got 8 hits so far, but all of them have been singles. And that has also helped Giovinco limit the damage here over the first 5+ innings, now into the 6th. And here's Lowry, who's got 2 of those hits. First pitch to him. It's that one in the air out towards left center field. Walden is there. He makes the catch. And on one pitch, Lowry's retired. Hodge back to first. And there are 2 away here in the 6th inning, and Jacob Williamson will come to the plate.
Now batting number 22, Jacob Williamson.
Williamson's also got himself a multi-hit game. Bunt single in the 2nd and also singled in the 4th inning. Hit that single in the 4th with Lowry at 2nd. And Lowry tried to score, was thrown out at the plate by Walden. So toss to first, and Hodge go back to the bag standing up. Talked about the prowess for Army on the base paths, 117 stolen bases on the season. Navy runs less than anybody. They had just 19 stolen bases this year. So you look at a couple of teams that go about it quite differently. Pitch is called a strike to Williamson, and the count is 0-1. Williamson, couple of hits. Hodge over at first off that 2-run bottom half of the 5th inning by Army that made it a 1-run game. Now a big swing and a miss. Actually foul tipped it, and the count is 0-2. Pitch, fouled it off. If not for Williamson's diving play in the bottom of the 11th inning against Lafayette in Game 2 of that series, maybe he would have had to go to a decisive Game 3 in the semis as he taps that one foul. So he saved the game for Navy in Game 2 against Lafayette. And Navy had that 8-run top of the 12th inning. Lafayette really just couldn't throw a strike. But it was Williamson who saved it defensively prior to that. And even though batting average hovering around 220 for him on the year, defensively he's been just about as good as anybody. Toss the first. Again, 2-strike pitch is hitting the air out towards right center field. Hurtaby's on the run, no trouble getting there. and it's another scoreless inning for Giovinco here in the 6th. So make it 4 scoreless innings in a row for Giovinco since giving up the 3 runs in the 2nd. No runs on a hit and a runner left on base. Go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Just a 1-run game here in Game 2 of the Patriot League. Go to the bottom half of the 6th inning, 3-2. Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you. Morgan Uber on the sidelines here this afternoon as Army 1 game away from getting themselves back into the NCAA tournament for the 2nd consecutive season, but Navy holding the 3-2 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning, trying to force that Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. Jared Leins back for his 6th inning of work and delivers a first pitch strike. And the count is 0-1. Jaquin will lead things off, so it'll be the 3rd straight at bat that Jaquin bats with nobody on base and fouls that one off. And the count is 0-2. Jaquin, Walden, McKenna, 3, 4, 5. Here for Army after getting their first 2 runs of the ball game off of Leins in the 5th. Now the 0-2 pitch hits it right back to the mound. Leins has it and will flip underhand to first. And Jaquin, after his big Game 1, is now 0 for 3 so far in this game. And he's the first out in the 6th, and that'll bring up Andre Walden.
Now batting number 34, Andre Walden.
So Leins looking for the bounce back inning after the 2 runs in the 5th. He gave up just his 2nd and 3rd hits so far of the afternoon in that 5th inning. A couple of runs. He also walked his first batter of the game. Walden first pitch stringing on a few hops over to Biggers at 2nd. Ayers over to 1st, and 2 ground ball outs, 2 away. And John McKenna will come to the plate. McKenna, a guy who
21, John McKenna.
did strike out in his last at-bat, and for the 2nd year in a row is among the Patriot League leaders in strikeouts, but has actually cut down on them some this year and increased the walk total, so it gets signed for the junior. As the pitch inside, and the count's 1-0. Last year, struck out 73 times and walked only 16 times. This year, coming into this game, 50 strikeouts, 34 walks. The pitch is a strike, and it's evened up at 1-1. Big right-handed bat. It's improved up at the plate. Batting average also way up from last season. As he checks his swing, but it's called a strike, and now it's 1-2. And a 6'5", 215-pound first baseman there. Now Leins has 2 strikes on him. He winds, and the pitch is down and away, and it's evened up at 2-2. So Leins looking for another 1-2-3 inning against this part of the lineup. The 3, 4, 5 batters. He set him down in a row in the 4th inning. Now has 2 outs against that part in the 6th. And the 2-2 tried to check. Did he go? Yes, he did, said the first base umpire. Another 1-2-3 inning for Leins, his 4th strikeout of the ball game, and he bounces back from that 2-run 5th inning here in the 6th. No runs, hits, errors, nobody left on base. We'll head to the 7th. Go to the 7th. It's 3-2. Navy leading Army. Tyler Giovinco is back out for his 7th inning of work. He has thrown 4 consecutive scoreless innings. The only inning in which Navy got to him was in that 2nd. They put up 3 runs in the 2nd, but since then, Giovinco has been able to work around some base runners. He's left runners in scoring position in both the 4th and the 5th inning, worked around to hit in the 6th, so he has still had a number of base runners and 8 hits allowed so far for through the first 6 innings, but all singles, and has kept it a 1-run game. As Christian Policelli, the freshman DH, will lead things off. Policelli, Samorian Lowry here in the 7th, and a first pitch breaking ball for a strike, and the count's 0-1. Policelli 0 for 1 with an RBI. He was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in the 2nd. Now the pitch just a little inside, and it's evened up at 1-1. Freshman Policelli will imagine be Navy's everyday starting catcher next season. Got quite a bit of work behind the plate this year. It's high and away, and it goes to 2-1. Started now 23 games this season. Did a good job of spelling Hodge behind the plate. That one popped way up in the air, out towards shallow center field. Hurtubise will call off for Simos. Actually did go for it, couldn't find it, and ended up at second will be Samorian with what'll go down as a double. So we've seen a couple of those pop-ups drop in. We'll take another look at it here. Looked like at the end, Hurtubise was calling Simos off it, who was kind of going back for it awkwardly, and then he just missed it. And it will be a double there for Policelli, so that is the first extra base hit of the ball game for Navy. Leadoff double here in the 7th. And here's Samorian. Would imagine Navy's going to try to move Policelli over to third with one out. Giovinco in a little trouble now here in the 7th. He got the pop out, but couldn't be caught. And that pitch in the dirt. And it counts 1-0. Samorian 1 for 2, singled in the 5th and into a double play in the 2nd that did result in a run. Now up there, you would imagine trying to bunt. Actually, the team leader in sack bunts this year. Has got 7 of them on the season. And the third baseman, Jaquin, way in on the grass. First baseman, McKenna, also pinched in. And a pickoff attempt there as the shortstop went sprinting over to third, and the second baseman, Simos, came in behind Policelli. They didn't have a overly large lead. Looked like, at least on that one, Army might have a wheel play on to give Jaquin a potential chance to throw to third on a bunt to third. Bunting here, he bunts it to first. It's picked up there by McKenna, throws to third, and they don't get the tag down in time. Samorian's gonna be safe. McKenna, pretty good throw over to third, but that is a tough play. And so Navy, it'll go down as a sack bunt and a fielder's choice. Samorian reaches there, and Policelli almost came off the bag there as he slid in so hard. But now first and third here with nobody out in the 7th, and it's the second time in this game we've seen Navy trying to put down a bunt. And the bunter reaching happened for Williamson in the 2nd, and it loaded up the bases with nobody out. So Navy now big opportunity to add some insurance here in the 7th in a 1-run game. The top of the lineup up, first pitch to Lowry is outside. And the count's 1-0. First baseman McKenna holds the runner on. Third baseman is in. Middle of the infield back for the double play. So they will concede a run to try to turn 2 here in the 7th. And he swings and misses at that one that was way down and away. And it's 2-1. Lowry hitless in this game. He was hitless versus Lafayette. So he's now 0 for 8 in the Patriot League tournament. The sack bunt. Just chase that one, able to lay off that one down and away, and now it's 2-1. Policelli at third, started this inning with a double on a pop-up that dropped in. Samorian reached on an attempted sack bunt. 2-1, grounded to first, and it'll go under the glove of McKinnon into right field. Policelli scores from third, on to third is Samorian, and it's 4-2, Navy leading Army. So some defensive trouble here for Army in the 7th inning. 3 straight plays in which probably could have had a chance at. It was hit sharply, and I don't think McKenna actually touched it, but he was in the neighborhood and certainly could have had a chance at least knocking it down to get 1 out on that play, but it goes as an RBI single for Lowry. His first hit of the Patriot League tournament, scores Policelli, and they get 3 straight guys. Policelli, a pop-up that dropped in. Samorian reached on a bunt when they threw to third. And now Lowry, the single, it gets past the first baseman McKenna. So Giovinco gives up his first run since the 2nd inning when he gave up 3, and maybe he gets an important insurance run, and there is action going out in that Army bullpen. It looks like Logan Smith has begun tossing, as does Anthony Larico. So double-barreled action out there for Army, with Giovinco still in a little bit more trouble here in the 7th. There's still runners at the corners with nobody out, and Michael Koritz will come to the plate. Giovinco is at 82 pitches, 4 runs on 10 hits here in 6+ innings. And middle infield stays back for the double play here with the runner at third and nobody out. And Koritz bunting here, pops it up foul. Koritz 0 for 3, reached on an error in the 3rd. Aside from that, a ground out and a strikeout. But Navy now with 10 hits so far in the game, 9 singles and a double. Pitch here, hit in the air, out towards right field. Titus is there. We'll see if they send the runner. Not very deep. The runner is coming home. Throw home, and he is nailed there at the plate. Titus, what a throw again. 2 outfield assists in this game, 1 from right and 1 from left. And Lowry is thrown out at the plate, or rather Samorian is thrown out at the plate, and it remains a 4-2 game. Take another look at it. Samorian just nailed there. Perfect throw from Titus. Saw Titus earlier in the game make a really nice throw from right field to third as a toss over to first base when Stevens was going first to third on a Hodge single, and didn't end up getting Stevens, but Titus certainly showed off the arm earlier in the game, and Biggers swings and misses at that. The count's 0-1, and once again, runner thrown out at the plate and keeps it a 2-run game. That pitch hit way up in the air, foul, and it's 0-2. Biggers 0 for 3, ground out, pop out, and fly out. With now pitch taken for a ball, and it's 1-2. Now 2 outs in the inning, and just a Lowry over at first base. Giovinco, great opportunity to at least limit the damage to 1 run here in the 7th. 1-2 pitch again, skied foul left side. Biggers way out in front of a couple of them here. Giovinco. Get through 7 innings here, and he's just right at around 90 pitches as a toss over to first. again checks on the runner there. Again, Navy doesn't run much. Lowry is 1 for 1 in stolen base attempts this year. Now the 1-2 pitch, chop foul again into the Navy dugout this time, and it remains a ball and 2 strikes. Giovinco's pitch, swing and a miss. He struck him out as the catcher Ledoux applies the tag, and the side is retired. Navy, though, does get a run back here in the 7th inning. They get a run on 2 hits, and they leave a runner on base. Stretch time here at Mac. Go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, 4-2. Navy, it's an insurance run there in the top of the 7th inning. So a 2-run lead once again for Jared Leins, who is back out for his 7th inning of work. Set the side down in order in the 6th. And Jeremiah Adams will lead things off here in the 7th for Army. Adams, Ledoux, White here in the 7th inning. And the pitch is called strike, and the count is 0-1. Leins 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits so far. Enters the inning with 78 pitches on the afternoon, so he's in pretty good shape still. Pitch, chopper left side. Williamson cuts it off on a slide, pops to his feet, throws to first, and so smooth over there defensively, makes it look easy there, and there's 1 away.
Now batting number 7, Blake Ledoux.
Big thing for Williamson over there at third. He's got the big arm as well, so he knows any ball he gets to, he's going to have an opportunity to rifle it over to first base. That time, plenty of time to get Adams as a first pitch strike to Ledoux, and the count is 0-1. So Leins trying to get himself through 7 innings for the 2nd consecutive week. Pitch outside, and it's 1-1. 7 2/3 last week against Lafayette. The only other outing in which he went 7 or more was when he threw 7 1/3 against Cornell back on March the 9th. Pitch low, and it's 2-1. So he has rounded into form here in the Patriot League tournament. Did have 1 week in Patriot League play where he missed his start. It's a strike, and it's 2-2. That was the 2nd week in April, missed the start. And then came back the next week against Army and was on a little bit of a pitch count, only threw 3 1/3 innings and 56 pitches. But start after that, 6 innings, 2 runs. That one's popped up foul, first base side. Stevens will have room for that one, and he makes the catch. And that's now 6 in a row that Leins has set down since giving up the RBI single to Hurtubise in the 5th. And he is an out away from 7 innings. Here's Josh White, who has had as much success as anybody in this Army lineup today. 2 for 2. Scored a run in the 5th inning. First pitch, strike, and the count is 0-1. White, a guy hasn't played a ton here down the stretch after he was 2nd team All-Patriot League last season, but struggled offensively this year. Swings and misses at that one. Had a .290 a season ago, but came into this game with just a .239 batting average and getting his first action of the Patriot League tournament here in this game. But 2 for 2. Now the 0-2, swing and a miss, and a very quick 1-2-3 inning for Leins here in the 7th. He sets the side down in order for the 2nd consecutive inning. 5 strikeouts through 7 innings for Leins.
Welcome back into Max Bishop Stadium. You're watching Army vs. Navy in the Patriot League Championship Series. And Jared Leins is now through 7 innings, the pitcher for the Mids today. And after that inning, Noah Song was the first one out of the dugout to cheer on his teammate. He pitched last night, the ace for the Mids, and whatever role he's assigned to, he does the best he can for his team. Coach Kostakopoulos told me he's uniquely special, but he doesn't think so, and that is truly the best thing about Noah Song. Ben?
Thanks, Morgan. Song getting his first loss of the season last night, giving up the 5 runs in 7 innings, 11-1 on the season, but still a tremendous year for him, and hoping his teammates can now pick him up over the final 2 games of this series to give him another opportunity to pitch this year. If Song was to pitch again, it would be in the NCAA tournament, meaning Navy came back and won 2 in a row here against Army. Is Giovinco back out here for his 8th inning of work, and Stevens leading things off. Count 1-1, pitch, swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Stevens 1 for 3, Singleton scored a run in the second, into a double play in the third, and flat out to right in the 6th. They give up his 4th run of the game in that 7th. Now a liner out towards right, and that's going to be in there. Titus, a good job to cut it off in the alley, and Stevens will stop at first with his 2nd hit of the game. Continues to be this part of the lineup. You look at 4, 5, 6 now for Navy of Stevens, Hodge, and Lowry. All of them now with multi-hit games. So 4, 5, 6 have combined for 6 hits. The top 3 in the lineup, just 1 for 11. So here's Hodge. Navy holding that 4-2 lead here in the top half of the 8th inning. Leins is through 7 with 88 pitches, so he'll be back out for the 8th. Hodge shows bunt and pulls back on a ball low. Counts 1-0. Hodge 2 for 3. Singleton scored a run in the 2nd. Singled in the 6th. Guy who has 12 home runs on the season. Just the style that Navy plays. Here, well, today 5-hole hitter. Hodge has been the cleanup batter for much of the season. But up here in the 8th inning, Navy looking for another insurance run. At least on the first pitch was showing bunt. That time not bunting, and he hits it in the air foul right side. First baseman McKenna giving chase and can't quite get there. Second baseman Simos went over as well. It's evened up at a ball and a strike. This is 1-1 pitch now. Another strike called, and it's 1-2. Hodge coming into this series had only 2 hits against Army all year. And went hitless in the first game, so this game he's equaled his total against Army for the season. Pops that one up foul. McKenna has room, and just in front of Army's dugout makes the catch. And Hodge is retired. And here's Liam Lowry. Lowry now 3 multi-hit games in 4 Patriot League tournament games this year. 6 for 9 against Lafayette in the semis. After an 0 for 3 game yesterday, he's 2 for 3 today. So he's got 8 hits so far in the tourney. And a check over on Stevens at first base. So the left-hander Giovinco remains on the mound here. Trying to get himself through 8 innings. Pitch, fouled it back. Counts 0-1. Because of the 7-inning doubleheaders, Giovinco hasn't had any opportunities to go past 7 innings. His season high is 7 that he's thrown a couple of times, including last week against Holy Cross. 7 innings of 1-run ball and a win against Holy Cross in the semis last week. Pitch fouled it off, and it's 1-2. Giovinco is now up over 100 pitches in this game. The runner over at first base, working out of the stretch. He's had a ton of base runners on against him. Check swing, chopper over to third. Jaquin's going to go to second for one, and then just eating it there is the shortstop White. Nice play, though, by Jaquin to get the lead runner. Fielder's choice 5-4 there as Lowry replaces Stevens over at first base. 112 is the season high here for Giovinco, who has gone over 100 pitches now 6 times, 100 or more 6 times this year. So he threw 105 last week against Holy Cross, so he's right in the range. Now 2 outs in the 8th inning, and very well could be nearing the end of the outing for Giovinco. So toss to first. Williamson 2 for 3. Bunt single in the 2nd, singled in the 4th. As the senior comes set, and his pitch to Williamson is upstairs, and the count's 1-0. Giovinco, 11 hits in this game, 10 of them singles, and the double by Policelli that was just a pop-up that dropped. That pitch is hit way up in the air down the left field line, but foul, and out of play. And it's evened up at 1-1. Williamson, a guy that does have some pop. Hit 5 home runs as a freshman, only 2 last year as a sophomore, but now this year, 5 more home runs for him. He was in the top 10. Patriot League regular season in home runs with those 5 long balls this season. Pitch here is hitting the air out towards right field. Titus, couple steps back, and now we'll get under it to make the catch. And it's another scoreless frame for Giovinco. So he gave up 3 in the 2nd, then just 1 more in the 7th inning, and the afternoon for him likely over after 8 innings of 4-run ball. Go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, 4-2, Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you up here in the booth. Morgan Uber is down on the sidelines here this afternoon, and Jared Leins is back out for his 8th inning of work. It's the 2nd straight week now that he has pitched into the 8th inning. 7 innings, 2 runs on 3 hits. Both runs that he allowed came in the 5th inning, and since giving up the RBI single to Hurtubise with 2 outs in the 5th inning, which was the 2nd run of that inning, he has retired 7 in a row, and a ball has not left the infield. He's got 2 strikeouts, 4 groundouts, and a pop-up to first. So he has really shut things down since the 5th. And now he'll face 9-1-2 here in the 8th. Drake Titus will lead things off. First pitch is up and in, and it counts 1-0. So Titus in the top of the lineup here for Army. Hurtubise and Simos. Pitch called a strike as Titus thought the ball had hit him there as he was turning out of the way from it, and he heard the umpire say something, and I'm imagining that Titus probably thought the ball skimmed his jersey. Is that one way up and in there? Now the 1-1 pitch, called strike, and Titus a little befuddled at the plate as he has 2 strikes on him. Leins, 5 strikeouts so far in this game. And now here's the 1-2 delivery, swing and a miss. He struck him out. So make it 8 in a row that Leins has retired since the 2-out RBI single by Hurtubise in the 5th. And now it is Hurtubise who comes to the plate. So Hurtubise, all his streaks extended there with that 2-out RBI single in the 5th inning. 13-game hitting streak now for him. 36 consecutive games that he has reached base. And a first pitch strike here to him. The count's 0-1. Guy that gets on base over 50% of the time. Pitch there off the mound. Shortstop Kuritz has it kick off his glove and into center, and it'll be the second hit of the game for Hurtubise. So making another multi-hit game for Hurtubise. 2 for 5 yesterday, 2 for 4 here today, and that insurance run that Navy pushed across in the 7th. Now looking all that much more important as Hurtubise, instead of representing the tying run at this point, is just a run that would make it a 1-run game. Here's Simos. He does represent the tying run, and it's a first pitch strike to him, and it counts 0-1. For Leins, got into some trouble last week in the 8th inning. He was pulled with 2 outs in the 8th inning. After he'd thrown 7 shutout innings to begin things a week ago. And a check on Hurtubise. Hurtubise, 2 singles and then reaching on a fielder's choice. So he's been on base a few times in this game and only taken off once. The pitch here, that's another strike, and Simos behind 0-2. So Leins has done a good job of throwing over to first, varying his times to the plate, getting to the plate quickly, and keeping Hurtubise over at first base, which not many have been able to do. The only time Hurtubise took off was when Simos hit a grounder to short. Now the pitch outside, and it's 1-2. Leins 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball with a career-high 9 strikeouts last week. And now he's got an out in the 8th inning for the 2nd consecutive week, and just the 3rd time this season. Two-pitch, called 3rd strike over the outside corner. 2nd strikeout of the inning. 7th of the game, and there's now 2 away, and here's Anthony Jaquin.
Now batting number 1, Anthony Jaquin.
So it's the first time in this game that Jaquin's going to come up with a runner on base. He's 0 for 3, but does come to the plate representing the tying run, and Bobby Applegate's going to go out to the mound, and let's see if they give Leins, who's now at 98 pitches, the chance to get through 8 innings, or if Bobby Applegate's going to take the ball from him. And looks like, for now, it's the conversation with Leins, who shook his head at Bobby Applegate a couple of times, and a little pat on the back to Hodge, and so Leins is going to get the chance to go after Jaquin here. Jaquin, 66 runs batted in on the season and 6 home runs. Steps up here in the bottom of the 8th inning, representing the tying run with Hurtubise over at first base. First pitch to Jaquin, gets it over for a strike, and the count is 0-1. So Jaquin 0 for 3, flat out to left in the first, ground out to short in the 4th. And grounded back to the pitcher in the 6th inning. Guy who led the Patriot League in runs batted in this season. First team All-Patriot League for the 2nd consecutive year. Both his seasons at Army. And a throw over to first. Hurtubise not a very big lead. Jaquin, 30 extra base hits this year. Pitch, grounded foul, and now he's ahead of him 0-2. 23 doubles, 6 home runs, and also a triple. The 3-hole batter for Army. Here with Army trailing 4-2 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Now 2 outs and 2 strikes on him. Leins with 7 strikeouts in the game, 2 of them coming here in the 8th. Strike out the side. Here's his 0-2 pitch, a little high. It's 1-2. Imagine This would be last inning of work for Leins, who's gone over 100 or more 3 times this year. Season high 111 pitches. Also came against Army back in March. 1-2 pitch, get high with it. It's evened up at 2-2, and Leins is up over 100 pitches in this outing. Toss to first. Hurtubise again back in, standing up. Not a situation you would think Hurtubise would be running. Wouldn't want to take the bat out of the hands of Jaquin. The 2-2 pitch, called third strike looking. Jaquin doesn't like the call. He's rung up, and Leins strikes out the side here in the 8th inning. 8 strikeouts for Leins over 8 innings of 2-run ball, and the sophomore for the 2nd consecutive week comes through in a big way for Navy. Go to the 9th, 4-2. Navy leading Army. Ben Gordon Goldstein back with you, and what an afternoon for Jared Leins. We'll see if he's done in the bottom of the 9th inning, but 103 pitches, 8 innings of 2-run, 4-hit ball, and 8 strikeouts and just 1 walk in the game for Leins, who strikes out the side in the 8th inning, and new career high for him, 8 innings of work here, as he has worked 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball and now 8 innings of 2-run ball in his 2 Patriot League tournament starts. So a fine job by him. And on the other side, Giovinco's afternoon is done after 8 innings as well. Logan Smith will enter his 19th game of the season and trying to keep it a 2-run game heading to the bottom of the 9th inning, as Christian Policelli will lead things off. And it's a first pitch strike, and the count is 0-1. Smith, 19th game of the year, 2-3 with a 3.57 earned run average. Pitch here is hitting the air out towards center. There is Hurtubise. He makes the catch, and Policelli is retired for the first out here in the 9th inning. Smith, seeing his 2nd action of the Patriot League tournament. He threw 3 shutout innings against Holy Cross last weekend, which are pretty good in game 1 that Army dropped before. Pitch is a strike, and it's 0-1. The 6-4 loss, so he gave up just 1 hit in his 3 shutout innings. Now working for the 2nd straight week. Pitch to Samorian is hitting the air to left. Walden over towards the corner, reaches out and snags it. Nice play by Walden. He was playing Samorian around that way. Looked like off the bat it was going to be for sure extra base hits for Samorian, but good defensive positioning there. And Walden makes his 2nd nice defensive play of the afternoon. He's already thrown a runner out at the plate. That was Liam Lowry back in the 4th. Now a nice running catch on Samorian's fly ball. 2 up and 2 down. Here's Lowry and a first pitch strike to him. And the count is 0-1. So Army will have 4, 5, 6 due up in the 9th inning, as Paul Kostakopoulos, head coach for Navy, calls Evan Lowry over to him after that first pitch strike. And a little conference with the head coach here after Lowry broke his hitless streak in the 7th inning, picked up the key RBI single that made it a 2-run game. And that's where we stand now, 4-2. Pitch fouled off, and it's 0-2. Navy trying to force game 3 tomorrow afternoon. It'd be at 2 o'clock. Army won yesterday 6-2. Game 1, and Noah Song, his first loss of the season. Now Navy behind the 8 strong innings from Jared Leins, trying to bounce back here in game 2 and force game 3. Here's the 0-2 pitch down the lane. It's 1-2. Last year, Army came into Annapolis in the Patriot League Championship Series and swept Navy in back-to-back games. and ended up winning a game in the NCAA tournament. Swing and a miss there, and a ball down low, and Logan Smith does his job. Comes in, easy 1-2-3 inning here in the ninth. We'll head to the bottom half of the ninth inning. Last chance for Army. So we go to the bottom half of the ninth inning, 4-2. Navy leading Army, and Jared Leins is going to come back out and try to finish off his own game, and why not? He's only given up runs in the fifth inning, 2 runs in the fifth inning. Aside from that, he has shut Army down here this afternoon, coming off an eighth inning in which he struck out the side around a 1-out single by Jacob Hurtubise, but 8 strikeouts in the game for Leins, 1 off his career high that he set last week against Holy Cross, and already a career high in innings pitched. So trying to finish off his own game, force a game 3 tomorrow afternoon, as Andre Walden, the cleanup batter, will lead things off here for Army. And waiting for the third base coach for Army to come out here before the bottom half of the ninth inning. So now ready to go to work as Walden digs in. Leins winds, first pitch, down and away. Skipped up there, and it's 1-0. Walden 0 for 3, a strikeout, a flyout, and a ground out. Leins, pitch up high as Walden showed bunt on it, pulled back, and it's 2-0. Leins, command has been tremendous for him today. Just 1 walk. It did come back to hurt him in the 5th. Now it's 2-0, but he has started things here in the 9th by throwing 3 consecutive pitches out of the zone. And wonder how long of a leash that Leins is going to have here in this 9th inning. See if it's just 1 base runner reaching and he'll be done. As he's behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Now Leins in the pitch, gets that one over. And it's 3-1. He's walked a batter and hit a batter in this game. McKenna, he hit with a pitch in the 2nd. Ledoux, he walked in the 5th, and that 5th inning was when Army scored their 2 runs. 3-1 pitch, up high, ball 4. And it'll be a pinch hitter here for John McKenna. It'll be Matt Hudgens who comes on as the pinch hitter, as McKenna struck out his last 2 at-bats against Leins. And let's see. And Bobby Applegate's going to come out to the mound here, and let's see if this is it for Jared Leins. Bobby Applegate, is normal slow stroll to the mound here, and players are out of the Navy dugout. Leins hands him the ball, and so that is going to be it for Leins. So 8+ innings for Leins. He walks the first batter of the 9th inning, but he comes out in line to pick up the victory for Navy. We have a pitching change here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. So Trent Topping will be the new pitcher, trying to get the final 3 outs of this game, and he will come on with that runner at first base and nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Again, game's being played here in Annapolis, but Army's the designated home team per Patriot League rules. Navy would be back to the home team as if they win in Game 3, but Topping will come on. Carter Macias will be the pinch hitter, so they'll use a second hitter. And it is actually going to be Matt Hudgens here, who was announced as the pinch hitter. Carter Macias has stepped into the on-deck circle, and Topping's first pitch is up high for a ball, and the count's 1-0. So Walden draws the leadoff walk to get Leins out of the ball game after 8 innings of 2-run ball. And Hudgens is on here as the pinch hitter for McKenna, who is 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. And a strike here, and it's evened up at 1-1. Topping comes into his 22nd game of the year, 3-3, 2.50 earned run average. He's got 3 saves, 36 innings, 20 strikeouts, 14 walks. And a toss to first, a little high that Stevens had to jump up for. Hudgens 3 for 17 on the season. And the pitch outside, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. And so Leins really cruised through those 8 innings. Just the 5th where he ran into a little bit of trouble, but walks the leadoff batter here in the 9th, and now Topping is followed behind Hudgens. And the pitch is swung and popped up behind the plate. Giving it a look is Hodge, but it'll be out of play over our heads, and it's evened up at 2-2. Two outside, ball 3, and now it's full of 3-2. Navy has gone to Topping here in the 9th. Brathwaite, it's been their closer most of the year. Topping has 3 saves, Brathwaite 10, but could blow a save last week against Lafayette. So turning to Topping here. The payoff pitch outside, ball 4. He walked him, and now the tying run is on base. Be a pinch runner here for Hudgens. Anthony Crompton is going to pinch run.
Pinch running number 13, Anthony Crompton. And pinch hitting number 42, Carter Macias.
And Carter Macias is going to pinch hit here for Jeremiah Adams. So Army unloading the bench here. Now Bobby Applegate's going to come out and have a word here with Topping. Can't tell if there is anybody going out in the Navy bullpen, and Bobby Applegate is going to make a change. So the 3rd pitcher of the 9th inning is going to come on here for Navy. 2 walks, one by Leins, one by Topping. Tying run on base. Winning run is going to be at the plate. We'll take a break and get to the details. So the sidewinding righty Jackson Zock is going to come into this game with 2 runners on and nobody out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Army trying to rally to win the Patriot League tournament for the 2nd consecutive year, as they have the tying run on base. The potential winning run coming to the plate. It'll be the pinch hitter Carter Macias, who does have 1 home run this year. Walden's at 2nd. Anthony Crompton, a pinch runner, is over at 1st. Also see if Macias is just trying to bunt to move that tying run into scoring position. Zock ready to go to work, and it did look like Macias was going to square as Zock looked the runner back to 2nd base. Zock's 18th game of the year, 4.06 ERA. And now time is called. Pitched to 1 batter last week against Lafayette. Got him out on 4 pitches. His first pitch here is bunting. It's out in front of the plate. Hodge is going to try to throw to 3rd, and it's in time. Williamson a pick and was able to hold the bag. Army doesn't think so. But the 3rd base umpire, Michael Provide, making the call there. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. See the runner coming in. Williamson the pick, and it does look like he got it and held the bag, and Williamson makes another tremendous play as Andre Walden finally does trot back to the dugout. And Williamson made a game-saving play at the bottom of the 11th inning last week, and on a throw from Hodge that skipped over to 3rd, he makes another tremendous play, and they get the lead runner for the first out here in the 9th inning. It'll go 2-5 on the fielder's choice. Another pitch hitter here, Rob Regine, is going to pinch hit. Still got the tying run on base and only 1 out. The pitch here, swing and a miss, and the count is 0-1. Regine 3 for 16 on the season. This is just his 15th game of the year. Army the 1-0 lead here in the semis, or in the finals. Navy trying to force that Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. 0-1 outside, and it's evened up at 1-1. Regine pinch hitting for the starting catcher, Ledoux. Did score one of the 2 runs for Army in that 5th inning. Innings started with back-to-back walks, one by Leins, one by Topping. And then Macias trying to get that bunt down, had the lead runner thrown out at third. Pitch, that's a strike, and now it's 1-2. And so Zach is the 3rd pitcher of the inning. Set, pitch is low, and it's evened up at 2-2. Army only 4 hits in this game, but a couple of walks here in the 9th inning, and they are threatening to at least tie this game, trying to get themselves back to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd consecutive year. Pitch, swing and a miss, he struck him out, and a big double fist pump by Jackson Zach. And he's got 2 away now here in the 9th inning.
Number 3, Josh White.
And Josh White will come to the plate. Back-to-back outs recorded by Zach here. After the first 2 batters of the inning, both reached on walks. Trying to preserve this 2-run lead for Navy here in the bottom of the 9th. He's an out away from forcing the Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. Zach's pitch, swung on and hit in the air out towards center field. Should be playable. Samorian comes in, he's under it, makes the catch, and we are headed to Game 3 tomorrow afternoon here in the Patriot League Finals between Army and Navy. Kind of a similar story to yesterday's game. One team jumped out early and then held on for the win as Navy scored the first 3 runs of this game in the top of the 2nd inning, and that turned out all that they needed here that 3rd inning. They had the RBIs by Liam Lowry and Christian Policelli, and then Samorian got a run in on a double play ball, so they had a 3-0 lead as Army made it a 1-run game in the 5th inning, scoring their only runs of the game off of Jared Leins in that 5th inning with an RBI ground out by Drake Titus and Jacob Hurtubise with the RBI single. But aside from that, Jared Leins was tremendous here this afternoon. 8 innings of 2-run ball, career high for Leins here this afternoon in innings pitched. He allowed just 4 hits total and 8 strikeouts. They brought him back out for the 9th, but after he walked the first batter of the 9th inning, he was pulled from the game. Trent Topping came on, he walked a batter, he was pulled, but then Jackson Zach came in and retired 3 in a row to pick up the save and force Game 3 tomorrow. And Jacob Williamson, what more can you say about his defense over there? A potentially game-saving play on a low throw from Hodge on a bunt. They kind of skipped over to third, and Williamson kind of playing the first baseman's role, holding the bag and picking the ball out of the dirt to get the force out on Walden over there at third, and that kind of started the string as Zach then struck out the next batter and got a fly out by Josh White to finish off the ball game. And so Navy, who has won the Patriot League regular season 5 consecutive years, but of the last 4 seasons only won the Patriot League tournament once, will force the Game 3 tomorrow, and now the decisive Game 3 to see who will get to the NCAA tournament as Army trying to win the Patriot League tournament for the 2nd consecutive season. Plenty more to come here from Max Bishop Stadium here this afternoon. as we'll have Megan Uber down on the sidelines for a post-game interview with our star of the game, Jared Leins, who was once again tremendous for the second straight week here for Navy, as he went 7 2/3 last week of one-run ball against Lafayette, got a no decision in that game, but here this afternoon he gets the win, career-high 8 innings of 2-run ball. So we'll hear from Leins, get you the full stats and a recap of this one as we are headed to Game 3 tomorrow.